Hi, I'm Swarupa Sale, course instructor for Geotechnical Engineering. In this presentation, we will go through syllabus of the course. What do we mean by geotechnical engineering? What is rock and soil cycle? And what do we mean by soil and its origin? Geotechnical engineering is with the course code CV450. Altogether, there are 3 hours allotted per week, and total it is 42 hours per semester. There are 25 marks for internal assessment and 100 marks for final examination. So total marks allotted for this course is 125. There are 4 course objectives. First one is to get the knowledge of engineering behavior of soil. Then to know the elastic and plastic behavior of soil in field and laboratory applications. Third is to know the principles of geotechnical design of footings and piles. And finally, the stability analysis of slopes. There are 4 course outcomes. First one is that the student will be able to learn fundamental concepts of engineering behavior of soil. He will be able to apply elastic and plastic concepts in understanding the equilibrium of soil mass. Third one, he will be able to analyze and assess the stability of soil mass. And finally, he will be able to design basic dimensions of isolated footings and pile foundations. There are altogether 4 units. Under first unit, the chapters covered are origin of soil and its properties. Second is soil exploration and sampling. Third one is shear strength. And finally, it is stress distribution. To begin with, we'll be starting with the first chapter, that is origin of soil and its properties, in which we'll be covering origin of soil, soil as 3-phase system, index properties, plasticity characteristics of soil, consistency, and classification of soils. So before starting with the origin of soil, we will just go through the definition of geotechnical engineering and its various branches. Geotechnical engineering is a branch of civil engineering which deals with engineering behavior of earth materials. There are 3 branches of geotechnical engineering. First one is soil engineering, second is rock mechanics, and third one is geology. Under soil engineering, we have got again 2 branches. First one is soil mechanics and second is foundation engineering. Under soil mechanics, various chapters covered are origin of soils, index properties of soil, soil structure and clay mineralogy, effective stress, permeability, seepage analysis, compaction and consolidation. Next, we will move on to rock-soil cycle. There are 3 types of rocks which are usually formed. First one is igneous rock, second is sedimentary rock, and third one is metamorphic rocks. Here we can see in this figure the rock-soil cycle. The igneous rock is formed by melting of deep rocks and then cooling of molten mass of sedimentary rocks and also metamorphic rocks. And then the metamorphic rock is formed from igneous and sedimentary rocks due to heat, pressure and solution. And due to compression and cementation of the soil, sedimentary rock is formed. And by the weathering of igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic rock, soil is formed. So soil is formed by physical and chemical weathering. Now we will find out what is igneous rock. Below the earth crust, there is melted rock called magma. So intrusive rocks are formed from magma which which is underground. And this magma remains in molten state, that is in liquid form, because of the high temperature which ranges from 625 to 1200 degrees Celsius. And sometimes this magma cools off very slowly under the Earth's crust and it solidifies into rock. The types of rock formed by this method are granite and gabbro. These are hard rocks and also they are very strong, because of which they are used for building and construction. And it is also used for headstones and kitchen countertops. There is one more type of igneous rock which is formed, which is known as extrusive igneous rock. During volcanic eruption, magma may also pour out to the surface of the Earth's crust. And this magma which comes out of the Earth's surface is called as lava. And this lava cools off quicker on the surface than below it. And these are known as extrusive igneous rocks as they are formed outside the crust. And the rock resulting from cooled off lava include basalt or pumice. And pumice is a lightweight and has got lot of air spaces, and it is used by cosmetic and cleaning industries to make things like excess skin removing stones, and it is also used in some toothpaste products because of its abrasive nature. So there are two types of igneous rocks which are formed. One is intrusive igneous rock, which is formed beneath the Earth's surface, and second is extrusive igneous rock, which is formed outside the surface. These are various types of igneous rocks. Here we can see basalt, gabbro, granite, which is strong and hard rock, and this is lightweight rock, which is pumice. Second is sedimentary rock, which is formed from accumulated deposits of soil particles or remains of certain organisms that have become hardened by pressure or are cemented by minerals. And cementing materials are nothing but silica, calcium carbonate and iron oxides. So in this figure we can see some of the sedimentary rocks. This is conglomerate, second is limestone, rock salt, shale and sandstone. There are two types of sedimentary rocks. First one is detrital sedimentary rock, which is formed from the solid particles or grains which are weathered and deposited. The types of detrital sedimentary rocks is conglomerate, sandstone and shale. Second is chemical sedimentary rock, which is formed due to chemical processes. Like for example, when sunlight evaporates the seawater, the residue left behind is nothing but the salt, and the type of rock is rock salt. And the other types of chemical sedimentary rocks are limestone and gypsum. Third one is metamorphic rock, which is a rock, like for example, when there will be metamorphic action which takes place over the igneous and sedimentary rock, due to heat and pressure, the metamorphic rocks are formed. Granite, which is igneous rock, becomes gneiss, which is nothing but the metamorphic rock, and mudstone becomes slate. Here in this figure, we can see the various types of rocks being arranged in the increasing order of metamorphism. So first one is shale, next is slate, then phyllite, schist and gneiss. In this figure, we can see the various metamorphic rock. First one is gneiss, schist, slate and marble. Now we will find out what is soil and how is it originated. The unconsolidated aggregate of organic or inorganic matter is nothing but soil, and it is formed from weathering of rocks and minerals. and this weathering can be either physical or chemical weathering. And the empty spaces between the solid particles are filled by air and water. So soil is a combination of solid particles, air and water. And this soil consists of gravel, sand, silt and clay. The soil is formed by the disintegration of rock, and this disintegration of rock occurs either by physical or chemical weathering. Geological cycle of soil formation consists of 4 stages. First one is weathering, which is nothing but the breaking down of rocks with no movement of the rocks. Second is transportation, third is deposition, and fourth is upheaval. So here in this figure we can see that there is a hill. Due to weathering there will be breaking down of rocks. That is nothing but either it can be a physical or chemical weathering, and then there will be erosion, and the weathered rock gets transported by the transporting agents, which can be either water, wind, ice, etc. And that transported material gets deposited over a place, and over the period of years there will be formation of upheaval, that is nothing but hill. And this cycle continues, which is referred to as geologic cycle. As we discussed, soil is formed by physical or chemical weathering of the parent rock, and we will find out what is physical and chemical weathering in subsequent slides. And second, it can be also of organic origin, and this soil is usually highly compressible, and hence it cannot be used as foundation material. We won't be discussing in detail about the soil which is formed by organic origin, whereas we'll be only studying in detail the soil which is formed due to physical and chemical weathering. Now we will learn what is physical weathering. Physical weathering involves breakdown of rocks and soils through direct contact with atmospheric conditions like heat, water, ice and pressure. And physical weathering can be either due to temperature changes, that means due to temperature changes, improper expansion and contraction happens in rock minerals, and this results in stresses in rocks, and due to which there will be disintegration of the rock particles. Second type of physical weathering is wedging movement of ice. The water within the cracks of the rocks, it gets frozen, due to which there will be formation of ice, and there will be expansion of ice over a period of time, due to which there will be development of stress in rocks by the wedging movement of the ice, and hence there will be disintegration of the rock. Physical weathering is also due to spreading of roots of the plants, and the disintegration of rocks occurs due to growth of cracks and fissures in roots of timber and shrubs which apply force on the rock. So this also leads to separation of the rock. Next is abrasion. Water, wind and glaciers pass over the surface of the rock. As a result, there will be abrasive action and scouring takes place. So these all are the factors responsible for physical weathering. Gravel and sand are the soil which are formed due to physical weathering of the parent rocks. Next is chemical weathering. Chemical weathering results due to hydration, that is, when water acts on the rock minerals, new chemical compound is formed, and due to volume change there will be decomposition of the rock. Second is carbonation. That means when water acts on carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, there will be carbonic acid which will be formed, that is H2CO3, and this carbonic acid, when it acts on the rock minerals, chemical weathering. Chemical weathering results due to hydration. That means when water acts on the rock minerals, a new chemical compound is formed, and due to volume change, decomposition of the rock takes place. Second is carbonation. That means when water acts on the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, carbonic acid, that is H2CO3, is formed, and this carbonic acid, when it comes in contact with the rock minerals, decomposition of the rock takes place. Third is oxidation. When oxygen comes in contact with the rock minerals, decomposition of the rock takes place, and this is similar to the steel rusting. Next is solution, that is leaching. That means when water acts on the rock mineral, that is for example CaCO3, it dissolves and solution is formed, and due to chemical reaction, soil is formed. Next is hydrolysis. That means the hydrogen ion gets replaced by calcium, sodium and potassium minerals, which results in soil formation. Clay and silt are the examples of the soil which are formed due to chemical weathering, and these are referred to as cohesive soil, whereas gravel and sand, which are formed by physical weathering, are referred to as cohesionless soil. In this figure, we can see the soil which are formed due to both physical and chemical weathering. As we saw in previous slide, that the cohesionless soil, for example gravel and sand, are formed by physical weathering. In this figure, we can see gravel and this is sand. So these two soils are formed by physical weathering. And second is chemical weathering, which results in formation of cohesive soil. Cohesive soil examples are silt and clay, and these two result due to chemical weathering. In this figure, we can see relative soil particle sizes, wherein we can see that the size of the gravel is maximum, then is sand, next is silt, and then clay. The size of the gravel is more than 4.75 mm. Sand size ranges from 0.075 mm to 4.75 mm. Whereas the size of the silt ranges from 0.002 mm to 0.075 mm, whereas the size of the clay will be greater than 0.002 mm. Next is the formation of soil due to decomposition of organic matter. So due to decomposition of organic matter, there will be formation of humus, peat and muck. The organic component of soil formed by the decomposition of leaves and other plant material by action of soil microorganisms is nothing but the humus. Next is peat, which is an organic material which is composed partly of decomposed plant material, and it has got very high water content and its density is low. And muck is a soil which contains 50% of organic matter and it is well decomposed. The soil which is formed by organic matter is usually highly compressible, and it cannot be used as foundation material because it may lead to excessive settlement of the structure which is constructed over it. So these type of soils are not suitable for construction purpose. Thank you.